There's a standard explanation for why social anxiety makes communicating to other people so hard. You're afraid of being judged. You care too much about what other people think about you. You aren't trying hard enough, so you get anxious. But these ideas don't account for something specific. They don't account for the reality of what it actually feels like to have social anxiety. They don't account for the fact that social anxiety is not just fear. It is paralysis. Like you were trying to solve two completely different problems at the same time. And until you understand what these problems are, you'll never be able to see social anxiety for what it actually is. A disguise trying to convince you that you are incapable and flawed when you are so much more than that. What I'm going to walk you through in this video is the most structurally precise account of what social anxiety is doing in a social situation. I came to it a long time ago when I reverse engineered my own recovery from social anxiety and then mapped it against the clinical research that I started developing. So if you've ever felt like you couldn't be fully yourself in a conversation no matter how hard you tried, this is the structural explanation for why. Here's a situation you might recognize. You're going into work one day and your boss says to you to come and visit him in his office. You're not quite sure why. From your point of view, it doesn't seem like you've done anything wrong. But you go in together all the same. Once you get into his office, you begin to get worried. You think to yourself that he's going to fire you, or that he's going to use his power against you in a negative way. But to your surprise, he looks at you with a smile on his face. He says to you that you've done a great job at work this week, and he's wondering why your productivity has increased so dramatically. The reason why is because you've started going to therapy. But you don't want to reveal that to him. You're afraid that if he finds out, some negative consequence is going to happen. He's going to judge me, you think to yourself. He's going to shame me for seeking help. So instead of telling him you're going to a therapist, you just respond with, I don't know, maybe it's because I've started going to the gym. What this story shows is the separation between who you really are from who you think you need to be in order to gain acceptance. This experience is not just a symptom of social anxiety. It is a sign of a system that dictates how you perceive and interact with other people in social situations. This system has a name. It's what I like to call the double bind, and it is arguably the most powerful system that sustains social anxiety in real time. Here's what the double bind actually is. The double bind is built from two goals that are running simultaneously inside every social situation you enter. The first goal is connection seeking. When you enter a social situation, what you are almost always asking is, what do I need to do for people to like and accept me? This is not something to be ashamed of. Everybody asks this question to some degree, and almost all evolutionary psychologists agree that social acceptance is fundamental to our needs as human beings. The problem isn't that this goal exists. The problem is how you go about achieving this goal. And this leads me to the second part of the double bind. The second goal you have going into social situations is exclusion avoidance. Instead of asking if the other person is going to like you, you might ask yourself, are they going to punish me for who I am? This goal exists because your mind wants to keep you safe, because you've experienced painful, humiliating social events in the past. Your mind wants to protect you from this by withdrawing from social situations. You might suppress yourself if you fear that revealing yourself will lead to punishment. These two goals cannot coexist at once. Connection requires a positive social signal, while concealment or exclusion avoidance suppresses it. Because of this, you are operating under two conflicting social goals, but neither receives the attention that it needs. This is what the double bind is. But there's a second layer to it that is critical to understand, and it is where the clinical research gets precise. In 1997, Rapee and Heimberg produced a cognitive model of social anxiety disorder that identified something specific about how attention works in social situations. They call it the multiple task paradigm. What it describes is this: when you are in a social situation with social anxiety, your attention is not on the conversation. It is split across two simultaneous tracks, and both of these tracks are running at full demand on the same finite cognitive resource pool. The first is internal. Instead of monitoring the other person's expressions, how the other person is feeling, and what you can say to respond, your attention is allocated to how you appear, how your voice sounds, how your face looks, if you're fidgeting too much, if the other person is noticing your anxiety, whether the sentence you just said came out the way you intended it or not. The key thing is this: instead of focusing on the situation itself, you focus on how your audience perceives you from the outside, not what you are authentically feeling from the inside. The second attentional split is external. You aren't just focusing on how other people are perceiving you. You are also trying to analyze if rejection or humiliation is likely. Your eyes might flicker across the room, scanning for any signal that the situation is about to turn. A slight shift in someone's posture, a gaze that moves away a half second too early. What both of these tracks, internal and external, produce is two things that constitute the social anxiety internal experience: a feeling that you are being watched, but also the belief that exposure will lead to punishment. These two tracks operate simultaneously, and neither receives enough cognitive attention. The result is not just that social situations feel effortful. The result is performance degradation, where no matter what you do, communication just feels impossible. Here's an example of this happening in real time. Let's say that you are going to the grocery store and you need to pick up food for your family. You get in the car, drive down the road, and arrive at the store. Before stepping foot through the door, you begin to feel a compression in your chest, like your lungs are collapsing inward. Your attention begins to shift towards this compression. Without even looking around you or seeing a single person, you infer that because you feel this compression in your chest, it must be a sign that people are watching you. Simultaneously, your perception shifts outwards and inwards. You monitor your external environment to ensure that other people are safe to be around, and you monitor your internal environment to make sure that you don't do anything that makes other people punish you and humiliate you. By the time you get into the grocery store, your mind is already operating under two goals simultaneously: monitoring whether or not it is safe for you to connect with and be who you are around others, and monitoring whether other people are safe enough for you to be comfortable being who you are. This story shows how the double bind operates in real time, but here's a much simpler way of conceptualizing it. If you reveal too much of yourself, you risk rejection, but if you reveal too little, other people might look at you in a poor way. This is a question every social situation you have becomes the same question: how much of myself can I show right now? This is a question that dominates the social anxiety experience, and it is the reason why you have such a hard time managing social situations. Your attention is split inwards and outwards simultaneously, constraining how you appear and how you feel going into social situations. The double bind is the most complete description of the problem architecture that I cover on this channel, and it's convergent, and it's the convergence point, where the place where everything else terminates. What the newsletter goes into is what an intervention would have to do to interrupt that architecture, not at the thought level, not at the symptom level, but at the level where the bind actually operates, which is the only level where the concealment imperative can be addressed at its source. If this channel is new to you, consider subscribing. Every video is one layer of the same model, and they're designed to be watched in sequence. And if you want to understand where the double bind comes from at the identity level, the videos I have on that are linked below. That's the layer underneath this one. Watch that one next, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.